My name is Angela Jordan Perry, and I am the host of Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. It's my delight to be with you today again. I'm looking forward to many days of getting together and just having a time to talk and to chat about homeschooling, all things homeschooling, particularly here on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. We will talk about a plethora of subjects that are pertinent to really under any law that you have within your state. So we don't get into too much of particulars of what's required as far as homeschooling in your state or that law, but just homeschooling in general. So I am happy, delighted to join with you from Facebook Live. And if the Facebook Live is not very clear, just jump over to the YouTube channel where I am live right now. And I will look forward to having some live chatting with you and some dialogue. These videos are just meant to be short and to the point. So let's just jump right into our conversation today. So today we're going to talk about scheduling or tips for scheduling your homeschooling day with children of different grade levels, different ages, how that goes. So we can have children as old as young, but you're trying to juggle that into a homeschooling schedule that works. Now, from a personal standpoint, I remember when I started homeschooling, I had my oldest who was 4 at the time. So I've been homeschooling 17 years this year. My oldest was 4 and I was pregnant, and my second was 2. So 4, 2, and pregnant. And then that started our journey. So as long as I had been homeschooling in the younger years, I always had a nursing baby or a brand new baby and other ones. And then I started a child care in my home. So I had always had tons of children and homeschooling. So the good thing is that it can be done. It can be done, but it requires you to be on top of your schedule. You have to have your ducks in a row. You have got to know from the time that your feet hit the floor what you're planning to do and how you're going to do it. And so that's what I want to just give you some tidbits. Now, for the most part, when you have this baby, if you're homeschooling with a baby, a little infant, it's kind of hard to know what the schedule looks like, but yet and still, I still understood that, my baby's always nursed every 2 hours. I always knew that around certain times they would be nursing. So I knew that that time would be a great time to have reading time with my other children. So we would all sit and read, and I would nurse the baby. Okay. So, the other thing I'm just going to mention, I'm just going to give you some tips, some things to think about, but it's going to be your homework that's going to require you to think and process your day, your life, and how to make it work. So here's some tips. So when I knew I had to nurse the baby, I knew then that that was a great time to do some things where we could read together and everyone was on the same reading thing. As they got older, and you know how they get when you're nursing them, they want to throw the cover off and just be everywhere, and you really can't do anything but just be in a quiet spot and nurse them. So when that started to happen, those were times where I provided something that my little ones could do on their own without me being there and get it done. Okay. So think about that. So you always have to be thinking about when they're younger, when the baby's ready to eat, what can you do with them if you can do that? If you can't do anything with them, what can they do on their own for maybe 10 minutes? Okay. The other thing that I had was a working schedule. As they got older, and then I had a baby. As I got older, I had a schedule that let me know what I was doing from minute to minute, literally. So by that time, now the baby, she was a little older, who I was pregnant when I first got started homeschooling. She was a bit older now, and then I was pregnant 4 years later after that with number 4. Okay. So I had a schedule, literally. So if we started our school at 9, I knew that at 9, for example, I was going to be doing math with this child. At 9 o'clock, this other child would be working on this. And then at 9 o'clock, that child would be working on that. I had a timer. And so I allotted myself so much time to work with that child on math and the other ones to do what they were doing. They already knew they had their papers in front of them. Maybe they could do a few subjects while I work with this child for 30 minutes on math. And then timer went off and we switched. All right. I'm no longer giving instruction to the math to this student. I'm giving math instruction to this student, and these other ones She's working on math, and this one is working on something else. Okay. And then timer went off and I switched up. So it did not give me time for my one to be, I did have one who always wanted to mess around and just mess up my schedule and not get through the math and just, he drove me crazy, but now he's in the military. So, but you know, I had that strict schedule. Now, what do you do when they're toddlers and the toddlers want to run all around and all that kind of stuff? All right. So again, I had this schedule and my toddlers had a few videos that they enjoyed. Okay. So I would have a schedule, what I was going to do with this child while I'm doing something with this child, and my toddlers would have a series of videos that they watched every day ad nauseum. And those videos was the old, not the newer ones, but the Leapfrog, Letter Factory, the older ones. So when I say older, I know they have some newer ones and I've not really gotten into those, but they do have those. We had the DVDs. Now I know you can get them on YouTube. You may be able to pull them up on Amazon. But anyway, ad nauseum, it was the same video every day. Letter Factory, I had Professor Parrot, because they learned Spanish. Math was numbers was Sesame Street numbers. And there was another letters by Sesame Street. All four of those. And you say, wow, that's a lot of TV. So we broke it up. If I had time to, this one is now, I'm not doing instruction and anything, then I would take time and go to one of the toddlers and the toddler that I had at the time and do some reading with them, some hands-on, holding pencil or something. But I knew from time to time, my schedule was like boom, 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 lunch. This is what we're going to do. And if we could do some reading together, then we did reading together. Okay. So my encouragement to you is that it can be done. Anything you want to do, you can do it. And anything you want to do, there is a way to get it done. It's just going to require planning. If you're a person who's not one who's given to planning and being on top of things, then you can do a loose planning, but you got to know what your toddlers are going to be doing when you're doing this. And if they get off the chair, that's training time. My kids knew that I'm schooling with brother or sister, and this is your school. You have to sit down and do your school. If they need something to leave, I remember, I even used the high chair. So when the toddlers are toddlers and they can walk, they sat in their high chair, they had a snack or something there, and they watched their videos. With breaks in between, of course, and go and give them a kiss and say hello. They were up normally in the schoolroom with us. At that time, I had a schoolroom where they were all young. We were all together because I needed to be able to go from here to here to here to here. So when they're younger, have that planned out where everything is together, okay, in one central place. If it's your den, so be it. They all had to have their space. If it's at the table, that's fine. But so in a way that if you're talking to this one about math, this other one is not being disturbed. So at that time, we had a schoolroom and a desk here, desk here, desk here. And then over here was the TV and high chair and that type of thing. And I just trained them. Children have to be trained, okay? If that is foreign to you, it's just a fact of life. If they're not trained, then they're just, you know, unruly. They don't know what's expected of them. All right, so get a schedule, figure out what you're going to use, get your resources, already know what hands-on things you can do if they're toddlers that they can work on and color while you do this. When they're young, 30 minutes to 45 minutes is about all you really need for schooling. When we're talking about kindergarten, first grade, maybe even in second grade gets to about an hour, third grade, and you know, a little bit more than an hour, just a bit more. And it progresses there. So your time is added on. Now, with the other thought, depending on your state, you know, maybe you don't have to do all the subjects all day. I mean, not all the subjects. I mean, you don't have to do all your learning in one day. So think about how you can do certain subjects a day where it will keep the schooling day only about an hour. Now, when they get older, that requires a little bit more instruction with the child, the older child. So you may have to now change schedule. And I remember at one point I did that. So my oldest one and I, we would get up earlier as her subjects required a little bit more instruction. We would get up earlier before the younger ones would get up and start their day. And once they got up and start their day, then we would do those subjects which will work well. You know, she didn't require me so much an instruction for science. And then I can go on and do that. So just know there is a way. If you have more questions, do email me at GG, the number 2, homeschool, Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. So GG2 homeschooling at gmail.com. Please comment, like, give me thumbs up. Let me know that you are enjoying these posts. My idea here is to connect with girlfriends, know that you have a girlfriend that you can speak to about this, because I've been there, done that, doing that, okay? So comments, thumbs up, hearts. If you're looking at the replay of this, thank you. And I look forward to coming back. Just stay connect. Let's see, like the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get alerts when I go live or when there's a new post. Okay, so take care. It was great spending this time with you. Again, I'm Angela Jordan Perry, and I am your girlfriend at Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.